So my first area was in São Bernardo, in the Ala Quatros, this is the 4th ward of the São Bernardo stake. And that was probably one of the bigger areas I served in. But even like it being one of my larger areas, it was still all just walking within the area. We just walked everywhere. And that'll be the same for any area you serve in that I'm aware of. Sometimes you might take a bus. And you'll have to take buses if you need to go to like meetings and other areas of the mission. But while you're proselyting, most of the time you're just going to be walking around. There's no bikes or cars or anything like that. São Bernardo is a place that just has tons of people, like I said. A cool memory, I guess, that I have from there. We were just walking around, knocking on doors, talking to people, and I saw this guy outside of his house, and so I just went over and talked to him, and he told us that he was atheist, but he was welcoming to let us come in and talk to him for a few minutes, which we did, and we went in and we were able to talk to him, and we ended up inviting him to say a prayer in that first lesson, which he hadn't done in a long time. But he ended up feeling very, very close to something during the prayer, and invited us back later, and we were able to teach him, and he ended up getting baptized right after I got transferred out of that area. And that's kind of an unusual experience because, one, you don't meet a lot of atheists in Brazil, and if you do, they're usually pretty closed off to religion. Usually they've had some kind of traumatic experience, because pretty much everyone grows up religious, some form or another. So being able to teach and baptize someone who was atheist was pretty unique and cool experience. São Bernardo is just, it's a lot like anywhere else in São Paulo. There's tons of people. The houses are like stuck together and built on top of each other. They're very small living spaces, and there is a lot of crime in São Paulo. There was a time period where we were not allowed to be out past I think it was 8 p.m. Just because there was like this, like they have these gangs, and the gangs were threatening anyone who was out past a certain time. I think it was 10 p.m. but that they could get shot. And so one, I guess, unique experience with that is, well, there was a time where I was a zone leader, and we had to go do a baptismal interview. And this was in the Hujihamo stake, and this zone was very long, I guess, geographically. And so we had to take this bus that kind of weaved everywhere and would take us all the way to the other side of the zone. So we were on one side, and the people that needed their interview was on the other side. And so it took a long time to get over there. We got there and we did the interview, and then we were waiting for our bus to come back, and it just wasn't coming. And so we were waiting, and it didn't come, and then eventually it came, and then we had to wait for it to zigzag around and finally come back. So we ended up getting home quite late. I think it was around 10 p.m. and we got off the bus and we were like running to our house because we were kind of worried. But yeah, that was an interesting experience.